Hi everybody, just Ben here with Pierre Paul Driving School. Today we covering DMV road test evaluation sheet. This is part 2 of a series that we're doing off of the DMV road test evaluation sheet. If you have not yet watched part number 1, I strongly suggest you go back, watch part number 1 so we can move along with this series, right? Now, part 2 of the DMV road test evaluation sheet, section B. We've done section A of part 1. Now we're doing part 2, section B, which consists of turning and intersection. Now, it is very important for you guys to understand how to make turn at an intersection, especially how to approach the intersection, how to make the turn at the intersection, when to stop at the intersection, and after making the turn, and what lane you will be following after making the turn. Oftentimes, many students get this wrong between turning at an intersection and turning at a regular turn. That's two different things. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, a right-hand turn is different from an intersection turn. Now, the way you're gonna approach a right-hand turn will not be the same way how you will be approaching an intersection turn. By definition, what is an intersection? Is a point of which one or two things intersect. In this instance, roads. In order for you to make an intersection turn, you're gonna have to intersect the traffic to make the turn. Number 1, they're gonna be watching on your turn. Number 2, on your speed. Number 3, on your observation. Number 4, on your lane positioning. It's a lot going on with that intersection. Matter of the fact, in this section alone, you can lose all the way up to 30 points. That is a lot. Why is that? Guess where most of the accident happen? At an intersection. Due to what? Poor judgment at an intersection. If you take in your road test and you being marked for poor judgment at an intersection, 9 out of 10, the possibility for you to fail the test gonna be very, 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 very high. Why is that? Because if you're having trouble understanding how to approach the intersection, it will not be very good for you as you're gonna be driving by yourself. Now, many people / students, they're stopping at the intersection too soon. Now, if you stop in too soon at the intersection, what's gonna happen? When you finally making that turns, you're gonna have to adjust in yourself, and which is not good. It's gonna be a short left turns. You see what I mean? Now, the contrary is also not good. What do I mean by that? If you stop in too far from the intersection, that's also not good. Because what's gonna happen? You're gonna make a wide left turn. There is a imaginary line as you're coming up to that intersection for you to stop. As we teaching all of our students, we have a way to let you recognize when you're coming up to that intersection, things are there for you to look for. Because the minute that you forward planning what you're doing, more likely you will deliver a better result. Of course, along the way, when you pick up your skills, you can brush up a little bit or be more faster at your delivery as it comes to driving. Because reason why? You've been doing it for a while now. There is certain thing that you pick up by doing it often. But as a student, if you have not been yet exposed into that situation too many times, it may be a little bit challenging approaching it, right? Now, when you come to that intersection, what are your pointers? What are the things that you need to pay attention to as you're coming up to that intersection? No, number 1, we want you to make sure as you're coming into that intersection to look to see what traffic light this intersection is governing by. What do I mean by that? Certain intersection have a specific lanes for you to turn. Most likely that lane is followed by an arrow. Pay attention to that. How many light bulbs is that the intersection? If it's only 3 light bulbs, you already know there will not be an arrow for you to turn. Most of the time, when there is 5 light bulbs, those 3 first light bulbs are the regular street light bulbs, which is yellow, green, and red. Now once you have 5 light bulbs, they got 2 additional one. Most of the time those 2 additional one are for you to turn. In that instance, there will be 10 out of 10 a turn signal and also an arrow in the street. As you're making that left turn, you have to pull into that arrow to make that left turn, contrary to the other one that has no arrow to turn. You only have 3 light bulbs. As you're pulling in to that intersection, you have to go at the center of the intersection to make that turn. You see the difference? Those are the little thing that you have to pay very good attention to when you come into that intersection. What else is there for you to pay attention to? You have to make sure that when you stopping, after you stop at the intersection, to pay attention to traffic. Why is that? Many students, when they come to that intersection, they're not paying attention to that traffic that's coming at them. They only focus at the intersection there. Now, by not paying attention to traffic, ready to make your turn and not giving good attention, if it's clear enough for you to do, besides the traffic light you're paying attention to, it is imperative to make sure that the traffic that coming at you is clear. Why is that? Because the oncoming traffic has the priority. Why do they have the priority? Because you're gonna have to intercept their line of traffic for you to make your turn. Therefore, you have to make sure they're out of your block. They cannot be on the block while you're ready to make the turn. In real life, of course, you have waited sufficient time to make your turn. But as you're doing a road test, they want you to go by the rules. You will not know how fast the car is coming until you try to make that turn. That is the reason why when you're making the turn without giving clearance to the oncoming traffic, they will fail you the test. You just cut on the traffic. Also, lane positioning as you're making the turn. Now, when you finish clearing that intersection, what lane are you going to fall into? All of these things are things you need to take in consideration when it comes down to turning at the intersection. Folks, I've always tell everybody, as when it comes down to road test taking, it is not how you and I drive, is how they want you and I to drive while you're doing the road test. Remember, according to them, in reality, you are not yet a driver until they give you that paper saying that, congratulations, you safe to drive now by yourself. That means that we have to handle the entire test as it is a road test, a road lesson. It is not a race, nor it is not something to see how well of a good driver you are. They just want you to show efficiency to those little in those little areas they're gonna be evaluating you at. Then from there, you will be very, very good if you act like a student and do all of the things that they are expecting to see from you. Now, this was a big one today because I really wanted to brush this. I really wanted to go a little bit longer in this section today because reason why? We have seen numerous people, far too often, students get that intersection wrong. Folks, it is not tough. Like we always said, how are you going to get better at this? The more you do it, the more you practice in it, the better you will get at that. I cannot stress the intersection enough because it's so much to cover. We would have to do a special series just for that intersection. But the little tips that I'm giving you now, they are well more than enough for you to go ahead, understand those concepts, and apply them as you do in your road test. You will be very, very, very well off with no hesitation. It is not about how you and I drive, it's how you and I handling those orders that they're giving us while we're taking the road test. All we have to do is go by the rules and do what are expecting of us to do. Then it should be any issue for whatsoever for you to pass your road test with flying colors. I'm just want you to guys to understand this. Take your time and deliver accordingly.